Welcome back to our channel, everyone. It's a beautiful Wednesday. The sun is shining brightly outside my window, but let me tell you, metaphorical storm clouds are definitely gathering over our favorite fictional town right now. There is so much to unpack regarding the absolute madness unfolding, along with the Beyond the Gates spoilers for August 24th through September 4th. And my mind is racing in 100 different directions. Okay, I've been thinking about this. And the whole situation with Hayley and Bill is just completely spiraling out of control. Like, basically, Hayley is pushing so hard to get Bill discharged from the hospital. And on the surface, maybe a casual viewer would think she is just being a devoted, loving wife who wants her husband back in the comfort of their own home. But no, hold on a minute. We know exactly what she is doing. She wants him home so she can completely control his environment. She is literally trying to isolate him so she can continue her sick, twisted plot to poison him without those pesky hospital doctors running random blood panels that might patch the toxicity levels. It is a classic sociopathic maneuver, creating a closed ecosystem where she is the sole caregiver and the sole executioner. Wait, actually, is she a sociopath? I mean, not exactly, but something like that. Her level of calculation is just chilling. She wants to watch him weaken in his own bed, stripping away his autonomy piece by piece. She is weaponizing his trust, and it is horrifying to witness. Actually, no. I should have mentioned that earlier. The tension between Donnie and Hayley is reaching an absolute boiling point because of all this. They have this massive, explosive confrontation right in Bill's office. You can just feel the venom dripping from Hayley's words as she corners Donnie. Hayley completely mocks Donnie, basically tearing into her psychological defenses, pointing out the glaring hypocrisy in Donnie's life. Hayley is like, you claim to be so madly in love with Andre. You parade this relationship around town, yet you are constantly, obsessively checking in on Bill. And honestly, Hayley has a point. Okay, I know I just said the opposite about Hayley being a monster, but listen to me, Donnie is deeply conflicted here. Her internal compass is completely shattered right now. She says she has moved on, but her gravitational pull always brings her back to Bill's orbit. It is this intense internal conflict that makes Donnie such a fascinating character right now. What am I saying? Oh, right, Vernon and Anita are noticing it too. They are literally pulling Donnie aside and questioning her recent erratic behavior regarding Bill. When your own family starts interrogating your motives, you know your subconscious desires are leaking out into the real world. Donnie is lying to herself, and everyone can see it. But wait, let me shift gears for a second because the psychological horror happening to Chelsea is keeping me up at night. It has been exactly 1 year since she was kidnapped by Allison. 1 year. The anniversary of trauma is always a massive trigger, but right on this specific day, Chelsea starts getting these incredibly disturbing phone calls. Just heavy breathing on the other end of the line, and then a sudden click. Dead air. Chelsea is absolutely spiraling into a full-blown panic attack, and who can blame her? She is convinced this cannot just be a random prank or a coincidence. The timing is too perfect, too malicious. It is like her past trauma has physically manifested into these phone calls, dragging her right back into that dark, terrifying space where she felt completely powerless. Basically, her brain is on fire with fear. I am trying to analyze this objectively, but it is so hard not to feel her sheer terror. Is Allison really back? Or is someone playing a cruel psychological game with a traumatized woman? Cod is not taking any chances with this, which is honestly the smartest move anyone has made so far in this entire mess. She goes straight to Jacob to get the police involved, raising the most horrifying question possible. Did Allison somehow manage to escape? Like, how could she escape? The security protocols at whatever facility she is in should be airtight. But that doesn't explain why the calls are happening right now, right on the anniversary. Maybe it doesn't matter, but I noticed that whenever the police get involved in this town, things tend to get infinitely more complicated rather than getting solved. And then Smitty and Elon uncover some new information. I am not entirely sure what they found, but whatever it is bad enough to send shockwaves of anxiety through the entire family. They are terrified for the safety of Chelsea and Madison. The vulnerability of a child in this scenario just amplifies the dramatic atmosphere tenfold. You have this invisible threat, this ghost from the past, potentially lurking outside their windows. It is a secret war of nerves, and Chelsea is rapidly losing her grip on reality. Strange. Really strange. The whole thing is strange and deeply unsettling. Anyway, the main point is... Wait, what's the main point? Oh, Andre. We need to talk about Andre and the absolute mess he is in with Heather. So, Andre gets this mysterious text message, and it just says 2 words, TikTok. Just that, TikTok. It is such a brilliant, terrifying psychological tactic. It is a literal countdown. It is a blatant warning that his time is running out, that the walls are closing in on whatever dark, twisted secret he is hiding. Andre is being completely consumed by his past with Heather. He is supposed to be building this new, beautiful life with Donnie, but he is anchored to this heavy, unseen burden. He ends up going to Heather's hotel room, which is literally the worst possible decision he could make. He is walking right into the spider's web, entirely of his own volition because the guilt or the fear is just too strong to ignore. When he gets to the hotel, Heather is just dripping with this toxic confidence. She looks at him and basically tells him that she knew he could not stay away from her forever. It is this sick, twisted power dynamic. She is holding his past over his head like a guillotine, using their shared secrets to blackmail him, to force him into submission. What is the secret? I am constantly racking my brain trying to figure it out. Did they commit a crime together? Did he betray someone to protect her? I am making hypotheses here, but none of them fully explain the absolute dread in Andre's eyes. He is trapped in this state of mystery, and his negative reactions are just compounding the tension. He is a man drowning, and Heather is standing on his shoulders to keep herself afloat. Basically, it's like a trauma bond or something like that. She knows exactly which buttons to push to unravel him completely. And the worst part is, Donnie is not stupid. She is highly perceptive, and she can see the cracks forming in Andre's facade. She notices his bizarre behavior, the way he jumps when his phone buzzes, the dark shadows crossing his face when he thinks no one is looking. She starts digging, trying to launch her own little investigation into what is eating away at the man she supposedly loves. But of course, her investigation gets interrupted. It always does, right? That is just how the dramatic tension is maintained in these narratives. Meanwhile, Andre is so desperate that he actually seeks out Ted for a heart-to-heart. He needs to vent, he needs to confess, but does he actually tell Ted the whole truth about Heather? I highly doubt it. He probably gives Ted a sanitized version, half-truths to alleviate his guilt without actually exposing himself to total ruin. Andre had promised Donnie that he would be honest with her, that he would tell her the truth, but Heather's grip is just too tight. She is absolutely determined not to let him go, dragging him down into the mud with her, and he is letting it happen. Okay, wait a minute, let me say that again, because Heather is not just a threat to Andre, she is becoming a massive problem for everyone, especially Smitty. Smitty is out there playing detective, digging deep to expose the true identity of this mysterious figure known as the Impaler. And for some reason, this investigation is making Heather absolutely furious. Why? Why does she care so much about the Impaler? Is she connected to them? Is she working for them? Or is she the Impaler herself? No, that doesn't make sense, physically or logically, but her anger is palpable. She feels cornered, and a cornered Heather is an incredibly dangerous Heather. She is lashing out, trying to protect her territory, her secrets, her leverage. She is trying to control a narrative that is rapidly spinning out of her grasp. And while all this is happening, Randy is lurking in the shadows. Joey has ordered Randy to keep a close eye on Heather, to track her movements and report back. This is where all these separate plot threads start crashing into each other in the most spectacular way. If Randy is tailing Heather, he is inevitably going to see her secret rendezvous with Andre. Imagine if Randy snaps a photo of the two of them together, looking conspiratorial and intense outside that hotel room. If Randy gets that proof, Andre's entire world, his carefully constructed house of cards, will violently collapse. The secret will be out, Donnie will be devastated, and Heather will have essentially detonated a nuclear bomb in the middle of their lives. It is this incredible struggle full of intrigue, and I am just sitting here biting my nails waiting for the inevitable explosion. But speaking of explosions, we have to talk about Bill. Oh my God, Bill. He might actually be waking up to the nightmare he is living in. And it is about time. So Hayley sneaks off to meet Randy at Uptown. She is probably feeling so smug, so confident in her little web of lies. She is standing there with Randy, acting all intimate and cozy. And she literally says out loud that with any luck, Bill will be dead before she even gets back home. Just let that sink in for a moment. The sheer callousness, the absolute lack of humanity in that statement. She is casually wishing for her husband's death while flirting with another man in public. But here is the kicker, the absolute cinematic climax of this whole scenario. Bill followed her. Yes, Bill is there, hiding in the periphery, watching this entire sickening exchange unfold from a distance. He sees the body language. He sees the intimacy. He sees the way she looks at Randy. He might not be able to hear every single word. He might not know the full, horrifying extent of the poisoning plot just yet, but what he sees is more than enough to shatter his reality. All those whispers, all those ugly rumors he tried to ignore about Hayley and Randy having an affair, Bill suddenly realizes they are all true. You can just imagine the profound betrayal, the physical ache in his chest, which is incredibly dangerous considering he just had pacemaker surgery. His heart literally cannot take this level of stress. The physical vulnerability perfectly mirrors his emotional devastation. Okay, I know I just said the opposite earlier about Bill being a passive victim in Hayley's ecosystem, but listen to me, Bill is not stupid either. He is a brilliant lawyer, a man who understands strategy and long-term planning. Now that he has seen this, the power dynamic fundamentally shifts. Hayley is going to come home completely unaware that her cover is blown, and she is going to have to frantically invent some elaborate lie to explain her whereabouts. She will be scrambling to save herself while thinking she is the smartest person in the room. But Bill has to play this so carefully. He is walking on a razor's edge. If he confronts her too soon, if he shows his hand in a fit of anger, he is in mortal danger. Because Hayley does not just want a divorce, she wants him in the ground. He has to pretend everything is normal. He has to swallow his rage, while secretly plotting his own survival against the woman sleeping next to him. It is a terrifying, claustrophobic secret war happening right inside their own home, and the psychological toll on Bill is going to be immense. And while Bill is dealing with his murderous wife, he is also trying to secure his professional legacy, which adds another layer of crazy to his life. He approaches Naomi with this massive proposition. He basically wants her to step up and run the entire law firm while he takes the time he desperately needs to recover from his heart surgery. This is a huge vote of confidence in Naomi, pulling her even deeper into his inner circle and giving her immense power. But, oh man, Tomas is going to absolutely lose his mind over this. Tomas already feels sidelined, underappreciated, and seeing Naomi elevated to the top spot is going to be a massive blow to his fragile ego. The conflict between Naomi and Tomas at the office has already been simmering, but this is going to turn it into a raging inferno. You have these two incredibly ambitious people and only one crown. The office politics are going to get vicious, and I am entirely here for it. Actually, maybe Tomas will try to sabotage her, or maybe not. I don't know, but the tension is definitely escalating and it is going to get ugly. What am I saying? Oh, right, there is so much emotional fallout happening everywhere else too, completely separate from the murder and blackmail. Tyrell is just wandering around like a lost soul, completely heartbroken and devastated after his painful split from Jessica. It is genuinely hard to watch him suffer like this, his personal foundation completely rocked by the breakup. But then June steps in, offering this quiet, comforting presence. There is something really tender about the way June is consoling him, and it makes you wonder if trauma and heartbreak might forge a new, unexpected connection between them. Sometimes the deepest bonds are formed when people are at their lowest. Meanwhile, Ted and Nicole are having this incredibly intense, emotional conversation. We do not know all the details, but you can see the raw vulnerability in their eyes. They are stripping away their usual defenses, navigating their own complicated history. It is like everyone in this town is just desperate for a genuine connection amidst all the lies, the betrayal, and the constant scheming. Then you have Eva, who is just practically vibrating with jealousy. She sees Cod hanging around Isaiah, and Eva's face just contorts with this undeniable annoyance. She is trying to play it cool. She is trying to act aloof, but she is failing miserably. The green-eyed monster is alive and well, and it is clouding her judgment. And who does Tomas run to when he is frustrated about the whole Naomi situation at the firm? Eva, of course. Tomas seeks out Eva to vent, to find a sympathetic ear, further tangling this messy web of romantic and platonic relationships. They are all just bouncing off each other, creating these little sparks of conflict everywhere they go, unable to just communicate clearly. And finally, I have to talk about Anita because this is just heartbreaking on a profoundly human level. She is fighting this incredibly brave battle, recovering from chemotherapy, but the physical toll is undeniable. She is deeply struggling with her singing voice. For someone whose identity is so intrinsically tied to her music, to her art, this is a devastating blow. It is not just about a hobby, it is about her soul, her primary method of expressing herself. This vocal issue is severely threatening the upcoming recording sessions with the Articulates. The entire Dupree family is feeling the weight of this. They are trying to be supportive, they are trying to be strong, but the underlying fear that Anita might lose her voice permanently is hanging over them like a dark, suffocating cloud. It adds this layer of poignant, real-world tragedy to all the heightened, soapy drama surrounding them, grounding the narrative in real pain. Basically, when you look at all these pieces on the board, it is just a masterclass in dramatic tension. You have Hayley's sociopathic poisoning plot, Bill's horrifying realization of his wife's betrayal, Chelsea's paralyzing PTSD triggered by an unseen stalker, Andre's ticking time bomb of a secret with a manipulative Heather, and all of these interconnected webs of jealousy, ambition, and heartbreak at the law firm and within the families. My brain is just jumping between all these ideas, and I am trying to organize them, but it is just so chaotic and brilliant. The writers are masterfully putting every single character into a state of mystery, forcing them to confront their darkest fears and their most hidden desires. I am just a fan sitting here, analyzing every single glance, every single heavy breath on a phone call, trying to predict who is going to survive the fallout. Strange, really strange. The whole thing is strange, but I absolutely cannot look away. Wait, did I forget to mention? No, I think that is everything, for now, at least. I need to go process all of this before my own head explodes from the stress.